ladies and gentlemen, here comes the highlight of the interview of the second shot of Pop Mug. We have Thomas Regala, the creator of Combatron Card Game, and of course Freddie Tan, and Jam, Ludus Games. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's call around. Clap our hands, guys. Here we go. Woo!
Stay a while and listen.
And welcome to our interview for Pop Mug.
Yay!
Welcome to Pop Mug. This is going to be our interview for our second episode of Pop Mug, and we have legendary status again, ladies and gentlemen. We have legendary status for our interview. We have, first and foremost, we have to introduce the guy who is going to continue the legacy of the Combatron saga, would you say. It's Thomas Regala, the creator of the Combatron Card Game. Yay! We have a special guest who's we're surprised to know that we have another game designer, concept creator extraordinaire. This is Jam. Let's all welcome him. And this guy should not have an introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway. He's the reason why the tabletop hobby gaming industry is still well and alive today. The guy we've always have somebody to thank for because of the cards that I kept in my house and the hobby games. It's the guy Freddie Tan, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
So welcome him. Yeah.
Good day, everyone.
Good day. So guys, how's everybody? How's everything? We saw you in ESGS. I didn't see you in ESGS, Jam. I don't know if you were there.
Working. This year we're taking hiatus, pero next year.
Oh, okay.
Fighting with my girlfriend.
Okay.
When we design games, we're a team. So, anong nangyari is, ako bahala sa mechanics, siya bahala sa card.
I see.
Free kami this year, pero starting maybe this month and onwards, we have big plans coming.
I see. Okay, that's good. All right, sir, Thomas, Regala. We were supposed to talk to this guy, and we were supposed to talk to him in the first episode, but unfortunately, things happened and we were unable to talk to him. But finally, I get to talk to the guy. So how are you? Let's start off with you, man. How's the whole thing? We launched Combatron. We saw it. How's everything so far?
It's still a whirlwind. I can't believe that we managed to pull it off. I mean, wow. It's really wow. I mean, coming from a big fan, coming from a game designer who hasn't, it's been around for a long time but hasn't designed much. Like to do something, to pull off something like this in such short a time, and to push through it despite all the little hassles along the way, and to see the people freaking out when they saw it, like it's still not here.
Right. That's crazy. When we first saw that guy, when we first heard that Combatron was coming out, I was like, what? And then suddenly now you're coming up with a game, and I bought the game, and I regret the decision that I only bought one box.
Yes.
So I might commit a sin and not tell my wife, but I might buy one today. so there.
We're not yet commercially available. So talagang nag-release lang kami sa ESGS.
Yeah.
Yung commercial release niya, baka next week.
Okay.
So we're not sure yet.
So we'll do inside jobs today.
Yeah.
Okay. And then sir Freddie, thank you for gracing us today.
No problem. My pleasure.
How's it been going since the whole ESGS thing?
ESGS was great. It's one of the best shows for us to showcase tabletop, which isn't really the most intuitive thing to think. Na you'd put tabletop sa pangalan pa lang ng show, electronic na agad, diba?
Right.
But there's nothing electronic about what we're doing.
Correct.
But surprisingly, it's one of the best shows for us.
Right.
I think it's mainly because when we go to ESGS, we're engaging people who are already gamers. So the concept of tabletop gaming, even if tabletop gaming is a much older art form than electronic games,
right?
To most of these people, kami yung bago. But they're not alien to the concept of playing games. Unlike some of the other shows where, let's say, comic books or it's a pop culture convention, not all the fans there are used to being engaged fans in an active way.
Right.
So medyo iba eh. You enjoy games in a social manner and you're actively participating. But when you're a fan of a TV series or fan of a comic book, you're a passive fan.
Correct.
You're absorbing material. You're not interacting with the material you're being a fan of.
Right.
So I think yun yung parallel. Pero talagang yun, initially, parang, it's such an alien concept to bring tabletop to electronic games. Parang, wow, you're gonna be talo ka dyan, di ba?
Right.
But surprisingly, it's not. It's
Yes,
not the case.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We went around, and to be honest, the guy behind the camera, Victor Barrios, hi.
I mean,
That was actually his first convention. And so is this guy, the guy behind the tech guy, Vince. Those were these guys. That was their first convention, and it was a crazy, and we de-virginized them, and I was happy I was the one to do it.
ano ba yung rating ng...
Oh, they loved it. They loved
PG
it.
ba tayo? PG.
Very PG-13. But they enjoyed it, and it was a crazy experience because you have a lot of these tech stuff, a lot of these high-end online things, and then suddenly, bam! On the other side of the room, you have these tabletop games, and they were just madly in love with all the displays, all this miniature stuff, all mga cards na nakalatag na ganyan, and they were all just all crazy, and that was great. You know, it was a great thing, and I thought the next episode of Pop Mug should focus on this, and that's because that's the idea.
Thank you for appreciating what we were doing there.
Yeah,
That was well, we all had our roots there. Just to be honest, me personally, as a gamer, we all started there. I think, and then this is my thought. All gamers started with something that they held in their hand.
Yep.
Unplugged to the wall. That's all. That's where all gamers started. Whether it's a stick or a card or a pen, that's where we all started. And just to give you an idea what the podcast stands for. It's Pop Mug. It's a Pinoy online pop culture, music, and gaming podcast. And yes, galing. And the word there is pop culture and gaming. So this might be gaming, this might be pop culture. It doesn't have to be always online, but that's the thing. It marries the online to the gaming. And where the online gaming started, it'll always have its roots here. We're in this place where everything is unplugged. So my first question is, I want to start off with, how is the whole tabletop community now in this new age, and I call it the Pinoytizen. You know, we're all Pinoytizens now. Every Filipino is somehow connected to the net.
Yeah.
At one point or another, we're all connected to our Facebooks. There's not a single statistic shows that 80% of all Filipinos from the age of, and believe this is a national statistic, from the age of 8 have access to social media 70% of the time. Whether it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they will all have access to it 80% of their time.
Wow.
Where is the Philippine tabletop community coming in? And I'd like to start off with the game designers first, because you guys have entered the scene. Okay, and I'm pretty sure Freddie Tan has a lot of insight in this. He's a lord of the industry. Panginoon to, right? So I want to start off with the people who are actually working the scene. Let's start off with Thomas first. He's successful with the Combatron industry. Let's start off with you first. How did you penetrate, and where do you see the tabletop industry now?
I think yung pinaka-disconnect dito is kailangan the disconnect is separate dapat yung video games sa analog tabletop. Hindi naman, yun yung parang nagiging disconnect na, we have to make better games, that we have to beat video games. Hindi, we can live together. There's enough time for everyone. We have 24 hours a day. We only sleep actually, we should sleep 8 hours a day.
Okay. You should, no?
You should. Wink, wink.
Well, depende. Pag Superman ka, parang si Tomas.
Gamers have a different body clock.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Para sa akin, hindi kailangan penetrating was pretty hard at first, of course. Because you're up against sensory overload. There's only so much tabletop can do. You can't make animated cards yet. But we're getting there.
Okay.
Pero,
wink wink yan, ha? We're getting there.
Pero I believe na instead of clashing, trying to be the better media, we offer what we're good at.
Okay.
Like for example, sa tabletop, what does tabletop have that online games nowadays don't have? Tabletop. I mean, sure, you can Skype, you can Twitch, you can talk to players online. Pero nothing beats reaching out to someone and screwing them over with cards.
I like that concept.
Diba? I mean, I came from a generation where split screen was king. N64, Dreamcasts. And one of the things that I learned about why people still want those things is gusto nila yung person-to-person connection. That's something that online games just can't provide. LAN games probably, it's close enough, LAN games, pero yung online, no eh. At the end of the day, you're trash talking a screen. Nothing beats trash talking someone. No, that's
Well, yeah. Iba yung pakiramdam doon.
Yun, I think yung mga things na yun, the social aspect of tabletop gaming, having fun, entering this term magic circle together, and enjoying moments together in real time in the flesh. I think that's what tabletop offers. And I think that's something that video games has to catch up with. In terms of that. Of course, one more thing to consider is the tactile experience. Like, you can run dice rollers all day long, but it feels more powerful to actually hold dice.
Yeah, and you cast it right there, and then it rolls and that thing goes away.
Because of me, I did that. Hindi ko masasabi na I did this because it's a cell phone. Did that. Pero yung dice even though the dice is just, I'm just here. I did that roll. I beat that. Di ba most of the time nakikita natin sa RPGs na yung mga story na I'm about to die or we're about to lose and suddenly I rolled a 20. Di ba yung mga ganun?
Literal pare by your hand.
Hindi na sinabi na the cellphone lowered the 20. I did. I think that's something that we have to that's our edge, and that's what we're trying to ride so hard in our games. Who bought my first game under Ludus Distributors was all about the feels. Combatron is also about the feels, which is nostalgia feels, and I think we're gonna run through it, explore more parts of the Filipino psyche, and find other ways that we can deliver a good experience that's different from the usual experience.
Right. I agree. Jam, what are your thoughts on?
Nabanggit mo kanina about social media, di ba? And how, ano yung role niya sa game designers. May pangalan ba yung community natin sa Facebook? Unpub.
The designers are.
The designers, Unpub,
Yeah.
Co-opted yung name, pero the concept, the core conceit niya is, galing kami sa iba't ibang gaming groups. Kami ni Patty actually came from, we did not come from a gaming group. We are very new into the whole gaming hobby. And without social media, without the connections na pinrovide sa atin, hindi makakapag-connect yung iba't ibang mga game designers. Hindi kami makaka-connect kay Sir Freddie, na hindi kami makaka-contact sa ibang mga similarly minded people na who could share thoughts about different existing game designs, and who could give thoughts on whatever we came up with. The first few times naglalaro ko yung game when Combatron. The first few times we played it, and not just Combatron, the different games of Balanga Entertainment, that all the different upcoming designs that are here, we would not have had it without the connectivity of social media. Kasi, I mean, tabletop gaming, if you're gonna make a video game, the bulk of the work is solitary, di ba? You code, you draw, etc. But tabletop gaming, you need other people. When you're making a tabletop game, you need other people for you to get out of your own head.
Right.
Kasi the math could have been perfect in your head. It could have been the best idea ever for you. But this community, the community of Unpub, the community of designers, now, ikaw yung nag-invita sa amin, di ba?
Basay.
Basically,
Ikaw pala
Kasi I really remember na, Thomas, ikaw yung nagsimula basically ng, kung kayo nagsimula ng sa publishing, ikaw yung nagsimula sa designing kasi who got your very first game that paved the way for designers like us to realize this is a viable art form. This is not just a viable, but even maybe in the future
sustainable.
Yes.
Trailblazer.
Yeah.
We hope.
Yeah, the connections that we have formed through social media and word of mouth whenever we go to events. Ano yung huli? There was this school where we went to and helped some kids with their game designs.
Sa Academy.
Academy, yeah. And other similar events we're in. We meet new and upcoming designers, we give them advice, then if they're willing, we connect them to the network.
Right.
Tapos palaki ng network na to. More and more ideas go in, better ideas go in, and if Sir Freddie likes some of them, maybe it get published. And I think that's how social media, not just social media, but the social connections began by Sir Freddie and Thomas began to improve and sustain the Filipino tabletop gaming scene.